How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. שבת אחים ואחיות שרק רוצים לחיות, להיות להבות, התקוות בעיניים פתוחות, בידיים אוהבות ומקבלות, ובידיעה שכולנו משפחה, באמונה שתוכנו יש מקום גדול לאהבה. כשהמים זורמים הם אותנו מובילים, מרומים מצבעים, כי מה שלי ומה שלך זוהי דרך חדשה, כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה. אז עוד שנייה, הנה זה בא, כמו הנשמה, נשמה, נשימה. הנה, 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 אני מבקש, כך ניתן מצב רוח לעלות ונתייאש. כשהשן עליי דוהר, בוער, אני לא מהר, לא סופר על העבר, מוותר, מרגיש את הרגע, פוגע במציאות, נוגע, שופע לא גורע ותמיד יודע שאם לא נפחד, הראש יתחדד, לא ניפרד, נתאחד, כי מה שלי ומה שלך זוהי דרך חדשה, כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה. אז עם הפחד בצד, שבת אחים ואחיות מאוחד. הנה, הנה, pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. אומנאים שבט אחים ואחיות שרק רוצים לחיות, להיות להבות, התקוות בעיניים פתוחות, בידיים אוהבות ומקבלות, ובידיעה שכולנו משפחה, באמונה שתוכנו יש מקום גדול לאהבה. כשהמים זורמים הם אותנו מובילים, מרומים מצבעים, כי מה שלי הוא מה שחזוי, דרך חדשה כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה. אז עוד שנייה, הנה זה בא, כמו הנשמה, נשמה, נשימה. הנה, 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 אני מבקש, כך ניתן מצב רוח לעלות ונתייאש. כשהשן עליי דוהר, בוער, אני לא מהר, לא ספר על העבר, מוותר, מרגיש את הרגע, פוגע במציאות, נוגע, שופע לא גורע, ותמיד יודע שאם לא נפחד, הראש יתחדד, לא ניפרד, נתאחד, כי מה שלי הוא מה שחזוי, דרך חדשה כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה. אז עם הפחד בצד, שבט אחים ואחיות מאוחד. הנה, הנה, for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. שבט אחים ואחיות שרק רוצים לחיות, להיות להבות, התקוות בעיניים פתוחות, בידיים אוהבות ומקבלות, ובידיעה שכולנו משפחה, באמונה שתוכנו יש מקום גדול לאהבה. כשהמים זורמים הם אותנו מובילים, מרומים מצבעים, כי מה שלי הוא מה שחזוי, דרך חדשה כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה. אז עוד שנייה, הנה זה בא, כמו הנשמה, נשמה, נשימה. הנה, הנה, אש, אני מבקש, כך ניתן מצב רוח לעלות ונתייאש. כשהשן עליי דוהר, בוער, אני לא מהר, לא סופר על העבר, מוותר, מרגיש את הרגע, פוגע במציאות, נוגע, שופע לא גורע, ותמיד יודע שאם לא נפחד, הראש יתחדד, לא ניפרד, נתאחד, כי מה שלי ומה שלך זוהי דרך חדשה, כשהשמש עולה, על כולנו מהירה, אז עם הפחד בצד, שבט אחים ואחיות מאוחד. הנה, הנה, pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. ידעי דדדדדדדאי, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. ידעי דדדדדדאי, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It is wonderful for us to be together. I was overhearing in the hall about the Alabama winter, where one day it is spring and the next it is winter. And apparently, and Dana Averbush, you should be closing your ears, there is a chance for snow.
No.
Next Friday.
No. Stop it. No.
Let it snow, let it snow. We got Shabbos anywhere. I don't think it's going to stick, though, literally and figuratively. And it's going to be further north of us, but as you know, when somebody says that there's going to be a snowflake, everything shuts down and we'll be okay, I promise you. I will make a call to the GOD, okay? I'll say, GOD, do you know me?
Yeah, you know me.
It's a GOD. Oh, gosh. We're starting off the service on a really good note, peace. So it is, as I said, wonderful for us to be together. We are coming together not only for Shabbat, but we are coming together to welcome our scholar in residence, Rabbi Paula McDrill. And we are so happy that she is here with her husband, Jonathan, who has a very similar affinity to being informal and casual when it comes to the Shabbat spirit. He was very pleased when I gave him permission to wear blue jeans tomorrow. But we are so glad that she is going to be with us and she's going to be teaching us. And I'll do a formal introduction of her a little bit later. But to frame this weekend, I want to talk about how The journey of life that we all experience differs from one person to another, and the meaning of our lives and the faith of our lives are unique and deeply personal. So this weekend, as we gather together for a lot of learning and reflection, we hope to recapture and reaffirm a sense of purpose. And we learn from Pirkei Avot the words, "Consider nothing impossible because there is no one who does not have her or his time and no thing that does not have its place." So this is the time in which we will be focusing and reflecting upon our joys and our accomplishments, our fears and our disappointments, and for all of us to create a sacred moment that moves us from wholeness to peace on this Shabbat. With those words in mind, I'd like to invite up Pam Rhodes to light our Shabbat candles on page 120, 121. Complete disclaimer, Pam is very, very excited for Rabbi Drill to be here. I heard there's some relationship.
My little cousin. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Each Shabbat, when we gather together, we take a moment to welcome our Shabbat bride, but we also take a moment to welcome each other and greet each other with words of Shabbat Shalom. So we will continue our service on page 138, 139 with Lecha Dodi. We will sing together verses 1, 2, 5. We will rise at verse 9. And after verse 9, we will take the opportunity to greet each other and wish each other Shabbat Shalom before we end with our final verse. Lecha Dodi. Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabala lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabala la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabala lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabala. Shabbat Nikala, Lecha Dodi, likrat likrat kala, Pnei Pnei Shabbat Nikabela. Likrat Shabbat V'chuvenecha, Ki Mikol HaBaracha, Mirosh Mikeden Jesucha, Sof Maaseh B'machshavati, La 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 Lechadoti, Likrat likrat kala, Pnei Pnei Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat likrat kala, Pnei Pnei Shabbat Nikabela. Itoreri, itoreri, ki ba'oref kumi uri, uri shiru gaveri. Kivod Adonai Lai, Lecha dodi likrat likrat kala, Pnei Pnei Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat likrat kala, Pnei Pnei Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat likrat kala, Pnei Pnei Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat likrat kala, Pnei Pnei Shabbat Nikabela. La 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 la. Di likrat likrat kala, Pnei Pnei Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat likrat kala, Pnei Pnei Shabbat Nikabela. Please be seated. We are taught that within our tradition, you can hear me, right? Or is it clicky? Can you hear me? It's clicky? All right, James, it is clicky. I may still go back to the... Yes, okay. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, now presenting Shalom Aleichem, page 142. Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch. We are reminded that prayer is both a personal experience, but also one in which there is power when we come together as a community. With that in mind, we rise together for the words of Baruch Hu, page 146. We remain standing for Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Please be seated, page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. So, one of the things that Rabbi Drill will be addressing throughout the weekend, I hope, and if not, then just nod your head and say yes. Perfect. Is the beauty of getting older. And while as we become older adults and as we grow, there's both this balance of some fear and anxiety, but also an opportunity for us to experience the world differently, for us to be able to reinvent and reaffirm and renew ourselves every single year and every single day. And when we look at aging as an opportunity, we realize that there can be purpose and meaning in all that we do. And not only do we realize that there's meaning and purpose in all that we do, we realize that all those worries and concerns that we were bound by, that we were enslaved to, need not hold us down anymore. Because we too have the opportunity to dance like Miriam and Moses and the Israelites, to dance for miracles, to dance for redemption, to dance for freedom, to dance for hope, to dance for possibility, to dance because of belongingness. And as we grow and evolve and experience the world, we too should dance. And we should celebrate every single moment, because every moment is a blessing worth celebrating. Michamocha, page 158. Within our tradition, yes, no? No? You're going to turn me up? Okay. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. And let there be sound, and it was so. In our tradition, we are reminded of the commandment to observe Shabbat, to make this sacred time, this moment of rest, and we do so with words of Vishamru, page 162. Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
וביום השביעי וביום
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. As we prepare for words of the Amidah, we will chant those opening lines together, Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, and then continue praying silently until page 180. So once more, we rise together for our age-old conversation with God, page 164. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, Ufia Yitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. At this time, we take a moment to turn our thoughts to those loved ones in need of healing of body, of mind, of spirit. As a congregation, we think of Charlie and Sarah Crocker, Nelson Petticourt, Natalie Wallach, Bernard Rubin, Margaret Ann Goldsmith, Al Jupiter, Junie Kunitz, Ken Rhodes, Joy Suskin, Lynn Weil, Sue Chatham, Sarah Ballin, Michelle Shochet, Charles Simon, Robert Berman, Doug Castellano, Suzanne Horsley, Charlie Appleby, Wayne Copeland, Eileen Linton, Joan May, Jane Altschuler, Dee Berkowitz, Sharon Schuff, Rebecca Stewart, and Renata Limmer. If there is a name that you would like to add on this Shabbat, I invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours.
Bert Griffith and Deborah Joyner.
Samuel the twins.
Baruch atah Adonai rofei et hakol. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings forth healing to all those who need it most. Misher Berach, page 371.
May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. As those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
Our prayer for the state of Israel can be found on page 377. Avinu shebashamayim, tzor Yisrael v'goalo, barech et medinat Yisrael, reshit smichat geulatenu, hagen alecha be'avrat chastecha, ufros alea sukat shlomecha, ushlach orcha v'amitcha l'rashecha sarecha v'yotzecha, v'tagneim be'etza tova milfenecha, v'natata shalom ba'aretz v'simchat olam leyoshvevha, v'nomar, Amen. In English together. O Heavenly One, so friends, Rabbi Paula McDrill retired this past June from full-time pulpit life at the Orangetown Jewish Center, where she served her entire rabbinic career of over 20 years. A social worker who returned to JTS as a Wexner Fellow after 12 years in the field, she was ordained in May 2004. Paula Rabbi Drill is also a certified Kripalu. Is that pronounced correct, Susan and Paula? Kripalu? Close enough? Okay. Tomato. Yoga instructor And in addition to fulfilling her blessed obligations as Bubby to her grandchildren, Rabbi Drill works quarter time as rabbi in residence at her home community, Congregation Agudath Israel in Caldwell, New Jersey, and serves as a mentor to the JTS Rabbinical School Mechina students. This is the low residency program, so the low residency rabbinical school program at the Jewish Theological Seminary. It's my pleasure to welcome Rabbi Drill to share with us some words on this Shabbat. You're welcome. This mic is okay.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. There you go. Thank you so much to everyone. First, thank you to the choir. How beautiful to pray with you this evening. So appreciative. And to all of you, everyone I've met so far, what a beautiful, welcoming place. I was very moved to see everyone rise for Shalom Aleichem and greet each other, because I care so much about inclusivity, about people feeling welcomed, and the only way to do it is to have as your routine and your habit to say hello to people. So when Rabbi Schwartz came off the beam and said hello to everyone, high-fiving and shaking hands, I thought, surely God is in this place, surely. I'm really glad to be here. I cooked this up with my cousin Pam Rhodes, who I guess a few of you know from around these parts. Jonathan and I were last here together when Douglas became bar mitzvah, so that was 28 years ago. It's great to be back for Shabbat. I wanted to speak to you this evening about getting older versus getting old. Getting older, which I think we all know is a fact, a blessing, and not a choice. Getting old, I'd like to say to everyone, is a choice. I start by telling you about my father-in-law, Phil Drill, who worked every single day at his construction company, bidding jobs and managing projects alongside John's brother and our sister-in-law. He decided to slow down a bit, though he still goes into the office most days. He now spends time organizing his 75 years worth of files, or as I call them, piles. Yes, I did say a collection of 75 years. To this day, everyone in the company consistently seeks his opinions and expertise. When he's not working, he's sculpting, seeing plays that most of us have not even heard of yet, doing Pilates, and walking his dog, Murphy. This past August, to celebrate his 97th birthday, he swam a few laps in the saltwater pool at Spring Lake, as we say in New Jersey, down the shore. Right, Susan? Down the shore. So Phil is 97 years old, but he is not old. You could say that he's blessed with relatively good health and excellent longevity genes, true. But Phil's way of embracing every day is more about his attitude than anything else. Now, we all know people like him. I'm sure that there are people like Phil sitting here tonight in the B'nai Shalom community. We think of them as treasures of our extended family, or maybe they are your extended family, or maybe you are that person. So getting older, as I said, is a fact of nature. So getting older, if it's a choice we all make, what exactly does that mean? Many of us have fears about when we'll die or how we'll die, and tonight I'd like us to consider instead, how shall we live? Let that be our question. How shall I live? As I grow older, and thank God that I get to grow older, will I simply grow old? Or will I strive to make choices that grant me joy, anticipation, and acceptance? For those of you here in your 20s or 30s or 40s, before you sit back in your chair and think that this talk is not for you, let me encourage you to to pay close attention for two reasons. First, the way you live your lives now, the stories you tell yourself about what it means to grow older, the people you choose as your role models, all will affect the way you thrive every day and every year of your life. And second, the way you interact with your elders today will predict the way that younger children and younger people will one day want to be with you. Because let me remind you, if we are blessed, then we are going to get older. So will you be an elder who people want to be with, or the one who people feel reluctantly responsible toward? It seems like an easy choice to me. Psalm 92 declares, Tzadik katamar yifrach. The righteous flourish like the date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. In old age they remain fruitful, still fresh and bountiful, proclaiming, Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no flaw. About this verse, Abraham Joshua Heschel wrote, one who lives with a sense for the presence knows that to get older does not mean to lose time, but to gain time. And also that in all of one's deeds, a person's chief task is to sanctify time. And all it takes to sanctify time is God, a soul, and a moment. And the three are always here. Heschel knows that being righteous is not about being on time to temple every Friday night or lighting Shabbat candles every week, though such actions might be the outcomes of righteousness. True righteousness, according to Heschel, is simply knowing that you are not the end-all and be-all of existence. There is something greater than you. And so you sanctify moments by embracing them, inhabiting them, not wasting them. Heschel's comment for me is a description of growing older, but not getting old. What does living this way look like? I wanted to find out the attributes that cause a person to become older without becoming old, to be that person we want to be with, the person we don't feel obligated to call, the person we want to call. What's the secret to such resilience and grace? How does one make such a choice? So I engaged in some serious research. I interviewed my in-laws. And 4 of my favorite people in my home synagogue, all nonagenarians. What I learned from these elders is that living righteously, a life of meaning and worth, has little to do with end goals, little to do with measures of success that our society assures us will bring happiness. Rather, these elders are students of life, grateful for the good that is theirs, and committed to being part of something bigger than their own lives. Study, gratitude, community. These are foundational Jewish values, and they lead us to choose growing older with grace rather than growing older with disappointment, fear, or anger. These wise elders are the people whose faces are always shining, who truly want to know how you are, who are interested and interesting. As Heschel said, these experts sanctify time. I share their wisdom here today, and I encourage you to seek out the wisdom of your own role models. Make a date to interview your neighbor, or your best friend, or if you're younger, your grandparent. I asked just a few questions, and the answers taught me so much. What is the nature of your spiritual life? What have been blessings in recent years, and how do you acknowledge them? What have been hardships in the years of growing older, and how do you cope? What does a good day look like? That one's from Atul Gawande, if you know his book, Being Mortal. If you don't, buy it on Amazon tonight. What are you looking forward to? When my experts spoke about blessings, predictably they mentioned children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. What was instructive to me was the way in which they mentioned their role in nurturing the relationships. Not one of them spoke about expectations of family members. Rather, they said, my children and grandchildren are strong, healthy, intelligent souls, and I tell them all the time how blessed I am by them, how I learned from them, and I say it out loud. And one said to me, there's no generation gap, no judgment or eye rolling. I have a true, intimate relationship with my grandchildren. And one more, I am so lucky to grow with my grandchildren and also to watch them grow. Do you hear what I heard when I listened to them? They are partners in the relationships. They don't have expectations. They simply create shared experiences. Hardships were discussed pragmatically, and each time these wise elders saw difficulties through a lens of optimism. It could have been worse. It could have been worse. The difficulty taught them something. They have the support to overcome hard things. One spoke about how he managed after the death of his daughter and then of his wife. He became more involved in synagogue life and community organizations. Another spoke about isolation after surgery and also during COVID. She pushes herself to get out of the house and go to where the people are for a lecture, a mahjong game, or a book club. She told me that as a nurse, she knows that isolation is lethal, and so she avoids it with every decision she makes. I share one description of coping from a wise elder who said, I figure I have a bargain with God. I get to be part of this world, see my next great-grandchildren born, attend my grandchild's wedding, and in return, I must accept my infirmities and watch as painful and frightening circumstances unfold in the world. It's a deal she keeps, and I suggest such a bargain for all of us. I learned most of all what these older people are looking forward to. Everyone I interviewed said some version of, I'm looking forward to more of the same. I want to continue what brings me satisfaction and what allows me to contribute in some way to the lives of others. One woman told me that she hopes that people will feel uplifted because of her interactions with them. My favorite mantra is from one elder who said he rejoices every morning because he wakes up. He enjoys every day and looks forward to tomorrow. The past is gone, he said, so he lives in the present moment and anticipates a good future. He puts his feet on the ground in the morning when he wakes up and he says, I won the lotto. Now you've heard from the experts, and my conversations inspired me and motivated me to think honestly and deeply about my own aging. And really, we don't have a choice, do we? So where do we start? Everything I am advocating happens right here at your beloved Temple B'nai Shalom. It's not the only place to grow in spirit and age gracefully, but it's a great place to start. We have a roadmap. Learn something new, express gratitude, be part of an intergenerational community. In other words, just come to Temple. Rabbi Schwartz is right here waiting for you with open arms and opportunities for learning, prayer, and community. Just shake your head. Yeah, see, he did that to me. I'll do it back to him. Now, I don't want to discount the difficulties that are also a part of growing older. Illness, loss, loneliness, ageism. Successful aging does not require perfect health, does not require the companionship of partners and family. Aging with grace happens despite the inevitable losses and sorrows that we all experience in our lifetimes. We all know older people with a catalog of reasons to feel despair. Illness in the family, loss of mobility, dependency on others, disabilities like hearing or vision impairment, who instead live with a sense of blessing and joy. And we know people with many reasons to feel gratitude, devoted children, financial stability, and passion for hobbies who instead experience fear and disappointment. We are all complicated. Look, we bring lifetimes of habit and conditions into our present day, but ultimately, growing older with positivity is a choice we can make. If wise aging is about learning to accept your life as it is, discovering how to make the best choices and becoming more resilient in difficult times, then what does unwise aging look like? It would be pretending you're not getting older, not living as fully as possible, and not making any preparation for illness or death. Perhaps this last detail catches you off balance. I think that preparation for what might happen, getting sick, and what will inevitably happen to all of us, dying, is a realistic approach that frees us to live completely in the present moment, full of gratitude and aware of our blessings. Medieval sage Abravanel commented on Psalm 90, which states, "The span of our life is 70 years." Abravanel said, "We have sevens in the cycles of the week, the numbers of days in our holidays, weeks of mourning and wedding blessings. Every time we encounter a 7 in Jewish life, its purpose is to remind us of our mortality." In other words, no one's getting out of here alive. So we should just face the reality and make every single day count in some small way. So if we want to say to ourselves, what does a good day look like? A good day might look like teaching piano or spending time with a good book in peace and quiet. It might be gathering with family or friends for a meal or a cup of tea. Perhaps it's walking among trees or digging our fingers in soil to plant flowers. And dare I say that a good day may look like warm-hearted prayer, a thought-provoking sermon, and sitting with friends at Oneg to study. What does a good day look like for you? And what would it take for more of those good days to belong to you? So Pam and I shared grandparents, Grandma Blanche and Grandpa Lou. And Grandpa Lou, for both of us, who lived to 98 and was here for Allie's bat mitzvah, he modeled for us that kind of curiosity that allows you to make the most of every single day. In the last 5 years of his life, he lived very close to John and me in a geriatric center. We moved him from Maine with my grandmother. And every time I went to see him, he would say to me, "What did you learn today?" A question that he asked me every day of my childhood when they lived half a mile from my house. And every night at 7 o'clock, the phone on the wall would ring. Ken and I were talking about rotary dial phones earlier today. And we would pick up the phone with a cord attached. I know some of you cannot imagine what I'm talking about. And Grandpa would say, "What did you learn today?" And that attitude of curiosity, that every day has something to give, is what plants in me the resiliency to welcome aging, to rejoice in the wrinkles on my face, to be so glad every single day that I'm here to learn something new. I'd like to close with an excerpt from Lord Alfred Tennyson's epic poem, Ulysses. "Though much is taken, much abides. And though we are not now the strength which in old days moved heaven and earth, that which we are, we are. One equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. May this evening be the beginning of your dedication to graceful aging. May we strive, seek, find, and not yield. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be so."
immediately after services, we invite the congregation to get something sweet and take a seat as Rabbi Drill and I will take the opportunity to do some Oneg interactive teaching about ethical wills. We want to make sure that we are done promptly at 9 o'clock so we can all go home and enjoy each other more throughout the weekend and get some good rest. We will continue our learning together at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning here with a bagel brunch and Torah study. And then on Saturday evening, we're going to be joining together at Pam Rhodes' house for a Havdalah informal gathering for us to also talk about artifacts that help define our Jewish identity. And then on Sunday is some yoga to become really centered and become one with yourself. And it's a good way for us to end our wonderful weekend together. As a congregation on the Shabbat, we take a moment to remember those loved ones who are no longer with us, but will forever remain in our hearts and in all that we do. Our congregation mourns the passing of Sandra Schwartz, as well as those loved ones who have recently passed, Barbara Lapidus and Thomas Fowler. The anniversaries of those who passed away in years past. Barbara Goldman, Barbara Palkas Dembo, Bernice Juden, Daniel Shochet, David Irwin Weisberg, Joe Petticourt, Margaret Goldberg, William Schwartz, Charles Fisher, Horst Hone, Norman Mendelsohn, Shirley Goodman, Diamond, Julius Koslow, Minnie Kalish Fishman, Pauline Weibbaum, Robert Ford Nelson, Lawrence Goldstein, Lydia Atkinson, Rena Pollock, Lorenzo Fletcher, Morris Gershon, and Morris Klibanoff. Zichronam Levacha, may the memories of each and every person we have named before an enduring blessing. Supporting those who mourn in the memory of the martyrs of our people, we rise together for Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. Yitkadal, Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divra Kirutei V'yamlich Mahutei, B'chayachon U'vyomechon U'vchayei D'chol Beit Yisrael, B'agala U'vizman Kari V'imru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Lomei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yipa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitalei V'yitalal Shemei D'Kudashah B'richu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran me'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to those who mourn, and may the source of comforts and comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say together, Amen. Amen. Please be seated. One of the things that we know is that we always try to find sweetness in our lives, even after we think of sadness and think of our loved ones who are no longer with us. So at this time, I'd like to invite up Rabbi Drill to lead us in Kiddush, to remind us of those sweet memories. Borei peri hagafen, Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshonu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. Shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon hihilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit. תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני So if you are young at heart and want to join me for Motzi, I invite you to do so at this time. Great. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Our closing song is Adon Olam on page 625. Zay melech shemo nikra, ve'ocharei yivos hakol, le'va'ado yimloch nura, ve'hu hayam, ve'hu hoveh, ve'hu yiyeh letifara. Ve'hu echad ve'en sheni, ve'hamshilo ve'hamira, Wishing everybody a Shabbat Shalom. Make sure that you get a sweet, and then we will begin our study together within the next 3 to 5 minutes.
Thank you all. Shabbat Shalom. See you Tuesday.
The back started acting up again. Within the course of 2 days.
How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. נעים שבט אחים ואחיות שרק רוצים לחיות, להיות להבות, התקוות בעיניים פתוחות, בידיים אוהבות ומקבלות, ובידיעה שכולנו משפחה, באמונה שתוכנו יש מקום גדול לאהבה. כשהמים זורמים הם אותנו מובילים, מרומים מצבעים, כי מה שלי ומה שלך זוהי דרך חדשה, כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה. אז עוד שנייה, הנה זה בא, כמו הנשמה, נשמה, נשימה. אני מבקש, כך ניתן מצב רוח לעלות ונתייאש. כשהשן עליי דוהר, בוער, אני לא מהר, לא סופר על העבר, מוותר, מרגיש את הרגע, פוגע במציאות, נוגע, שופע לא גורע, ותמיד יודע שאם לא נפחד, הראש יתחדד, לא ניפרד, נתאחד.